Hi, Ken Slatz here to talk about the millage rate. Yes, your taxes that pay for public education. It's your school taxes, which stand at a millage rate of 17.481. And we're going to dive much deeper into that in a second with a simple explanation of exactly how it all works. Then there's your county taxes, which stand at 10.518 mils. Of course, that pays for public services in Chatham County. And then there's your city taxes, if you live in a specified municipality. 12.2 mils in the city of Savannah. You can see from Tybee Island to Pooler and all in between. The smaller municipalities range from just under 2.5 mils to 5.37 mils. So, first of all, what's a mill? That's $1 in taxes for every $1,000 of a property's assessed value. The assessed value is set by the tax commissioner. So in simple terms, if your property is assessed at $100,000, then you'd owe $1,748 at the current rate of 17.481 for school taxes. One important note here, the assessed value from the tax commissioner is 40% of the fair market value of your property. SCCPSS has tentatively adopted that same rate to keep it, 17.481. Yes, a reduced rate could also be adopted at the final adoption on June 25th, but SCCPSS has no intention in raising the millage rate. In our current real estate market, it is not uncommon for property values to, well, be on the rise. In these instances, the amount of taxes due on property would go up too. That's because the assessed value of your home or your property is on the rise. However, it is important to remember that the increase paid in taxes in this case is not because of an increase in the millage rate. Now, one more important term before I wrap this up. It is what's called the rollback rate. Remember that, the rollback rate. It's a rate that is calculated by the tax commissioner to offset the increase in property valuations, so you pay the same amount of school taxes that you did the year before. Since your property valuations went up, so will your taxes. So if the school district keeps the millage rate flat, but it is higher than the rollback rate, state law requires it to be called a tax increase, and public hearings must be held. That's the situation we are in now. That's why this is advertised as a tax increase, when in reality, your millage rate is staying exactly the same. State law requires that if the board is not going to use the rollback rate, they must advertise a tax increase. But don't be misled. No millage rate increase is being proposed. Your taxes may increase with the valuation of your property, but the school system is not currently planning a rollback rate, which would be 16.826. So how do we compare to similar school districts across the Peach State? As you can see, from the 7th largest to the 13th largest districts, SCCPSS's millage rate is lower than all but one. Houston County comes in at 11.71. Paulding County and Cherokee County are each within a half a mil of us. SCCPSS falls in the middle in enrollment numbers. So why is a millage rate of 17.481 mils important? It's a millage rate that uses critical revenue sources to maintain a budget that's designed to provide the funding and resources for your child's education. Total efficiency and fiscal responsibility is the cornerstone for this year's budget, and it'll be driven by the operating expenses paid for by your taxes and the proposed millage rate of 17.481. For SCCPSS, I'm Ken Slatz.